Good morning, everybody. So happy that you are able to join us this morning for Hot Topics. Thank you so much, everyone. It's good to have you here. Oh, man, every day. You guys know what I'm talking about? I hate to. I don't want to depress you in the morning. I'm also, by the way, let's just real quickly. I got a lot to talk about, but I'm so tired of my glasses because they always fall down and they really heavy and they press against my sinuses. So I'm going to try to do this show without glasses. So if I mess up a couple words, then I may have to pick them up. More lemon, but it's really great this morning. I hope you have your lemon mug, the Don Lemon Show mug. Yeah, I'm about to speak some facts. Thank you. I'm glad you guys said that because I'm going to tell you that I had a disturbing phone call and a couple text messages yesterday, and I'm going to explain to you in the open of the show about why it's so concerning to me and just how when you don't realize that these people don't realize that they're putting people's lives in jeopardy and in danger with their rhetoric, and to them it's just political maneuvering, but to other people, it's life. You remember the Pete Hegseth? Everyone was like, why are they gathering all of these generals to come to Washington and to come to the Washington, D.C. area? They're at Quantico. And I said, well, this is probably PR. He just wants to shore up that he's good. He's the big dog and he's in charge. Here it is. Take a look right here. This is the president now. He is speaking at Quantico. And, I asked yesterday morning, white men, are you okay? And then I said, America, are you okay? Are you awake? My question for you this morning is, and I'm not going to just bombard you with this stuff because this is live from Quantico. Donald Trump, are you okay? I just want you to listen to him. This is Donald Trump live. Just listen. You tell me.
Okay, now, but I saw his results. He took out ISIS. I was told it was going to take 4 years. It took 4 weeks. I went to see him, and he took him out in 4 weeks, knocked him out, knocked him to hell. And I was told by military people it was going to take 4 to 5 years to do it. And I don't even know if we'll have it then, sir. These were the Washington generals. I call them the television generals. But Raisin Cain did it in 4 weeks, took out 100% of the ISIS caliphate. As a result of these actions and many others since my inauguration, we're witnessing the triumphant return of peace through strength. We have great peace through strength. America is respected again as a country. We were not respected with Biden. They looked at him falling downstairs every day. Every day the guy's falling downstairs.
He's not. And what about him slurring?
He's not our president. We can't have it. I'm very careful. When I walk downstairs I'm on stairs, like these stairs, I walk very slowly. Nobody has to set a record. Just try not to fall, because it doesn't work out well. A few of our presidents have fallen, and it became a part of their legacy. We don't want that. You walk nice and easy. You don't have to set any record. Be cool. Be cool when you walk down, but don't bop down the stairs. So one thing with Obama, I had zero respect for him as a president, but he would bop down those stairs. I've never said, da-da-da-da-da-da, bop, bop, bop. He'd go down the stairs, wouldn't hold on. I said, it's great. I don't want to do it. I guess I could do it. But eventually, bad things are going to happen. And it only takes once. But he did a lousy job as president. A year ago, we were a dead country. We were dead. This country was going to hell. We were dead everywhere.
He's rambling. Let me just give you a little fact check there. Obama brought the country back from the brink. The economy, the unemployment under Obama. I mean, just almost by every single metric, Obama was a better president. Not almost. Every single metric was a better president than Donald Trump. The country was in a better place. The economy was in a better place. Yeah. And then Donald Trump came in and he drove the country into the ditch. And then Biden had to come rescue the economy. So those are the facts. But Donald Trump's bing, bong, bing. Is he okay? Because he's talking about Biden and is falling down or whatever. Biden is an older man. We know that he has back issues. He has arthritis. Okay. But what does that have to do with him as president? He actually did a pretty good job as president. Donald Trump lies every single day about his presidency and how well he says it's going in the economy, and it's all lies, and people believe him. So we're going to get back to this buffoonery that's happening at Quantico, and watching Pete Hegseth stand on stage. It looks like he is a child playing dress up, trying to impress his daddy. In the meantime, your government is about to shut down. So good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you hit the like, hit the thumbs up. It affects the algorithm. More people become aware of our channel and our conversation here, and we're going to have an important one this morning, because we are staring down a shutdown of the United States government. And the interesting thing for me is that the people who are in charge of every single lever of power, they're telling you that it's not their fault. If you listen to Republicans, MAGA, Donald Trump, it is not their fault. And they're in charge of every single lever of power. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Mike Johnson. They want you to believe. This is coming from someone who's not a Democrat or not a Republican. They want you to believe that the Democrats are shutting the government down when they are in charge of every single lever of power, which is interesting, which is an interesting sort of mind game that they're playing with you, right? An interesting sort of gaslighting. Can you guys stand by? Something's happening with the dog, and I'm here alone. Stand by, please. You guys take over, Peter and everyone.
While we're waiting, Andy, why don't we throw up a little bit from the president still speaking live at Quantico?
All right, here we go.
I was with the great leadership of UAE. I was over there. We brought back $2 trillion and more. They ordered 200 planes, Boeings. They ordered so much, and they were great. But they all said essentially the same thing. They said, 1 year ago, you were a dead country, and now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're the hottest country in the world right now. The absolute hottest country in the world. There's nobody even close. Putin said that to me. We met in Alaska, had a good meeting. Then he went back and started sending drones into Kiev. I said, I thought we had a good meeting. But it's one of those things. But we were a dead country a year ago, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Think of that.
All right, I'm back. So sorry, Gus is old. He's 16. He's blind. You can see in one eye. So he fell off the bed. He was screaming. He's got to wear a diaper. Anyway, he's our senior dog. So sorry, it scared the shit out of me because he was screaming up there. All right, Gus, hold on. I got to do this, everybody. I'm not just put him on a chair next to me. He was upstairs on the bed. And I'm just going to put him right here. Sorry about that. Sorry. All right, Gus. Chill out. Anyways, whew, man, that was scary. Okay, because I don't know if you guys could hear him, but he had fallen off the bed. Barkley was looking at him like, what's wrong with you? Okay, Gus, you're going to be fine. All right, so where was I? I don't know where I was. Okay, so, oh yeah, I know where I was. And that was Donald Trump at that thing in Quantico talking about America being I don't know what he's just rambling. So Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Mike Johnson, they want you to believe that the Democrats are shutting down the government, which I said it's a crazy sort of mind trick, right? A gaslighting of the country and you by trying to pretend we have no power. It is the Democrats' fault. Even now, if it was the Democrats doing this on the other way, I would say, well, look, you guys are in charge. So it's a lie that Democrats are shutting down the government. Republicans control the House. Republicans control the Senate. Republicans control the White House. They control the courts. They have power. But they try to tell you that it's someone else's fault. And what's their excuse this time? Wait till you get to their excuses. And this is the personal story that I have that I'm going to tell you. And I wonder, like, what am I going to bring the lemon heads every day? What am I going to bring the Lemon Nation and the people who are watching every day? What will I tell them that's different from the day before? Well, everything is personal. Everything is relatable to your life. So I want this to relate to your life as a human being every single day. And that's what I try to bring to you. So what's the excuse this time, or the excuses this time, for not wanting to work with Democrats, wanting to shut down the government? They say it is about health care for illegals. That is a flat out lie. They say it's about transgender kids in sports. Now, what do transgender kids in sports have to do with continuing to fund the government? The Democrats aren't asking for anything that has to do with healthcare for illegals or for transgender kids in sports. And now just remember that people who are here who are undocumented, some people want to call them illegals, as they do. Undocumented people, many of them pay into the healthcare system, or they pay taxes, they pay into the system, and then they get none of the benefits of it. So this isn't about illegals or transgender kids in sports. They have turned a fight about healthcare subsidies into a culture war sideshow. They have turned a fight about Medicare, Medicaid, healthcare subsidies into a culture war sideshow. So I want to be clear. Democrats are asking for pretty much one thing, and that's to keep the Affordable Care Act tax credits that help millions of Americans pay for health care. Republicans and Democrats. Everybody. That's what this is about. This is about providing health care for Americans. If I was there, I'd be like, yeah, of course. I want everybody to have health care. That's what this is about. It's not about undocumented immigrants. It's not about basketball or track or swimming. There's no evidence, none, that this fight is about healthcare for undocumented people. That is a smokescreen. And yet, that's what Trump and Vance are selling today. MAGA, Trump, Vance, Johnson, all of them. That's what they're selling today. Healthcare for illegals, boys and girls sports. That's what they're telling you the shutdown is about. And when I listen to it, I'm like, are they serious? And then I say, yeah, they are serious, because remember, that was one of, if not the most successful political ads, was the ads that those anti-trans ads that elevated transgender people and transgender sports into something that is just completely way out of proportion to the very minuscule number of transgender people in this country. So think about that. They are all willing to crash the government, to furlough workers, to stall paychecks and gut services, all to cover up the fact that they do not want you to keep your health care affordable. Did you hear what I said? They're doing all of this to cover up the fact that they do not want you to keep your health care affordable. How fucked up is that? Aren't they supposed to be about the working class people? Average, everyday people? Rich people don't have to worry about that. They can afford, if something happens, they can afford health care. Most of them have it already anyways. And while they turn people into scapegoats, real lives are in danger. I know, because this is my story. I spoke to one, okay? And so I don't want to identify anyone, but there was a transgender person that I interviewed on the streets. And they contacted me in a panic, asking me to take the video down. Why did they do it? Because since that video went up, they have been bombarded with harassment and threats. This person approached me on the streets, was very willing, saying, we're in a dangerous place. I want to speak out about blah, 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 blah. And now this person is being bombarded with harassment and threats. I've seen some of the messages. Some of the messages that say, wannabe women, your kind is going to hell. If I ever see you, I'll beat the shit out of you. I saw some of the text messages and the threats, and I spoke to the person. This person is 20 years old. This person is terrified. Called me last night, or I called them last night, And they told me that they are scared of possibly losing their job. They're scared of being ostracized in their own community. They are hearing from old classmates attacking them on Facebook, strangers threatening them in their DMs. And I got to tell you the truth about this. I was heartbroken after that call, after reading those panicked messages. That stayed with me all night. So that's why I'm bringing this to you, to let you know that these things have real life effects. Don, Mr. Lemon, I'm so worried about, I need my job. And what if my boss is conservative? Can you please take it down? It's just too much. I can't, it's affecting my mental health. And I'm afraid, these death threats, I'm really afraid. And I'm not exaggerating. Because unless you have experienced this kind of hate, unless you've experienced it up close, you don't really know what it feels like. That's always someone else you hear about. Oh yeah, getting threats, huh? Wow. But unless you have experienced this type of hate close up, you don't really know what it feels like. You don't know the weight it puts on someone, the fear, the isolation, the humiliation of being targeted for just existing. Now imagine, we all have something, right? But imagine that you are being humiliated and threatened just because of your existence. And that's what makes this moment so sick right now. Trump and Vance and Johnson are not just talking politics. This is not just politics here. They're turning people into targets. They're using trans Americans as punching bags in their culture war. And the result is that a kid who trusted me to answer a question on the street is now fearing for their safety. That's fucked up. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. What's happening in Washington right now is in no way a debate about fairness in sports. It's not about that. This is a machine that takes vulnerable people and then feeds them to the mob. It should shame everyone involved, but I guess they have no shame. And this is my theme overall. America, are you okay? White men, are you okay? MAGA, are you okay? Donald Trump, are you okay? Do you understand what you're doing, that you are putting people's lives in jeopardy? And I see you, Saint Sosa Grands, in the chat. Thank you for your support. Disabled Black trans veteran, broken but survived. We see you. And thank you for your support. It should be a shame for all of them, but I don't think they have any shame. But karma's a bitch. You just wait and see. Sometimes karma wakes people up. Do you remember Liz Cheney had an whole evolution after her sister came out to her? So did Dick Cheney. Watch. One of these people is going to have a trans kid. Mark my words. But they're not ashamed. Instead, the silence continues in some. So they're speaking out about these transgender people, but then the silence continues over this shooter in Michigan. This is the hypocrisy of all of this. I mean, can you imagine if that shooter had said something about being pro-liberal or anti-Trump or anti-MAGA? Oh my gosh, you couldn't. Caroline Levitt would be on every single program, every single Fox show from the briefing room speaking out. Every MAGA Republican would be talking about this is an attack on conservative issues by the libs. And guess what? Crickets right now. In Michigan, a man drives his truck into a Mormon church. He sets it on fire. He opens fire. You know the story. I told you yesterday. He wore a Trump 2024 Make Liberals Cry shirt. He had a Trump sign in his yard. According to neighbors and people who knew him, he called Mormons the Antichrist. Now, that doesn't sound random to me. That is political violence fueled by rhetoric, like blaming trans people for the government shutdown. But on this one, in Michigan, Republican leaders say nothing. The big loud mouths that are always out there talking about the Christians and you just I'm a Christian and you can't and you're fighting and I am conservative and you're a lib. That all of that. Nothing. Crickets. Deflection. Let's talk about anything other than the political violence that is mostly perpetrated. Most of the perpetrators are right-wing, far right-wing zealots. From what I said yesterday, white men. Are you okay? And why are you so quiet today about Michigan? Where's all your rhetoric, all your bullshit about the owning the libs and the libs are responsible? Where's all that shit? And while this is all happening, Pete Hegseth is on stage in Washington giving pep talks to generals, as if generals need pep talks. Pete Hegseth, I got another personal story. A lawmaker who is a Republican called me this morning. I swear, I kid you not. Boy, actually, I'm wrong about that. Called me yesterday. I didn't see the call. I woke up to a missed call. You know, it's red missed. And I said, oh, wow, this is a lawmaker in Washington. I need to call him back. Hey, man, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. We started talking. And I said, what do you think of what Pete Hegseth is doing to these generals? He goes, what's really interesting to me, Don, is that Pete Hegseth could not get above a certain rank because he could not pass the test. And now he's on stage cosplaying a military leader. And he said, no one talks about how Pete Hegseth did not have the goods, did not have the stamina, did not have the mental and physical wherewithal to be able to get above a certain rank, to get to that next rank that would possibly even put him or make him qualified for a leadership position. Couldn't do it. But yet you had the nerve to talk about merit when the person who's in charge of the Defense Department in the United States can't even get to a certain rank, couldn't get past a lower rank. Come on, bruh. This isn't about merit. This is DEI for white men. Your definition of DEI. Pete Hegseth says that he wants to strip ideology out of the Pentagon while he's spewing ideology from the podium. He's ending advisory panels for women in the military while he calls himself a warrior. I think that the person who said to me is like, the Republican lawmaker said, he's always talking about lethality and about being a warrior when he couldn't even get to that level that would make you a warrior in the military. He looks like a boy in his father's uniform, pretending to be a leader while sounding like a parody. It is embarrassing. And everybody can see it. Everybody can see it. The Republicans see it. They know it. The MAGA folks know it. They will never admit it because they're kissing up to Donald Trump. They're embarrassed by Pete Hegseth. You're an embarrassment. This is where we are right now. A government that's on the brink of a collapse, a president sending troops into American cities, unleashing ICE in broad daylight, leaders blaming healthcare subsidies on immigrants and trans kids. A trans 20-year-old getting death threats because they spoke the truth on camera to me on an American street with their American citizenship right to free speech, First Amendment. And they're getting death threats because they spoke the truth. A church in Michigan burned and shot up by a man wearing the president's name on his chest. It's all connected. All of it. It's all the same rot. And so if you're asking yourself, what is this really about? What is it about every single time? Here is your answer, okay? Here's your answer. It's the same play on repeat. They invent a crisis, then they name a scapegoat, right? This time it's trans kids, it's the Dems, it's illegals. They break something on purpose. Then they blame the powerless for the pain. And finally, they step in and call themselves the only one strong enough to fix it. It's a trick. It's a strategy. So that's the bottom of it right there. That is the pattern. That is what all of this is. Every single time, chaos as strategy, power through division. And here's the other truth. This is the other truth that the producers just spoke to me about before we started the show. But this is the other truth. Democrats feel locked out of power in their own government right now. Their constituents, the people who can't stand the Trump agenda, they don't want compromise right now. They don't want a polite folding of the hands. They want a fight. They want strength. They want proof that someone will stand on the line and say, nope, no more, nope, not going to do that. They want strength right now. And I'm hearing a whole lot of people, even Republicans, are saying to me, shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. Just because they want the Democrats to show some chutzpah. That's the difference this time. This fight is not just about tax credits or appropriations or healthcare. It is about whether Democrats can finally show the country that they have the backbone to defend their voters. In a way, it's about the soul of the Democratic Party itself. So this morning, let's just say it as plainly as possible. The government is about to shut down because the people in charge chose it. The violence in Michigan is part of the culture that they built. The harassment of a young trans person is part of the culture that they built. The circus at the Pentagon is part of the culture that they built. The troops in the streets, part of the culture they built. America, are you okay? Are you awake? Because if you sleep through this, they will do it again and again and again. Is that what you want? We're going to hear from the folks in charge about this government shutdown and offer you also some information that can help you if and when, more than likely, this government will shut down. First, a word from our sponsors. Support for the Don Lemon Show today comes from Hexclad. You ever had that one pan in your kitchen that you hate, but you just keep using it anyway? For me, it was this old nonstick that looked like it had survived 3 world wars. And then I found Hexclad. And I swear, it is like I went from dial-up internet to fiber optic to high definition, right? 5G, 6G, I don't know, it was amazing. So it is stainless steel tough, nonstick, easy. My favorite is the 12-inch pan, big enough for a family meal, but light enough that I'm not breaking my wrist flipping it to stir fry. I've done seared steak, I've done salmon, I've even done midnight grilled cheese that came out like fine dining. And the best is like even just scrambling eggs, amazing. And the cleanup, wipe, and you're done. They are scratch resistant, they're oven safe, dishwasher safe, and yes, Gordon Ramsay actually uses them. Now, if it's good enough for him, then it's certainly good enough for me. I don't know, hopefully it's good enough for you. So if you've got that sad old pan haunting your kitchen, upgrade. Go to hexclad.com hexclad.com/lemon for 10% off. That's hexclad.com/lemon. And support for the Don Lemon Show also comes from the Freedom from Religion Foundation. All right, let's talk some facts here, because across this country, politicians are sneaking religion into public schools. 10 Commandments posters, chaplains without training, tax dollars going to private religious schools that turn away LGBTQ students and kids or non-Christians. Now listen, I went to a Catholic elementary and junior high school. I know what a classroom looks like when the church runs it. And then I went to a public high school, and let me tell you, the rules were quite different. The only commandments we needed there were do your homework and don't cut the lunch line. Don't start no mess, or as they say, don't start none, won't be none. That's why the Freedom from Religion Foundation matters. They just won a federal court case in Texas stopping schools from being forced to hang the 10 Commandments in every single classroom. That's First Amendment, the First Amendment at work. So don't let your rights get rewritten. Go to ffrf.org/school. That's ffrf.org/school. F as in Frank, F as in Frank, R as in rear, F as in Frank. Okay. Or you can text FFRF. You can go to ffrf.org/school, or you can text DON, DON, to 511-511. And text fees may apply. Thank you to our sponsors. Welcome back, everyone, to the program. Okay, so here's the thing. The government is about to shut down, as we said. This is the New York Times. Shutdown appears to be imminent, according to the New York Times. Moments ago, Donald Trump spoke about the shutdown and doing his helicopter thing. And then I'm going to bring someone in who can tell you what this means to you, to all of us, if the government indeed shuts down. But first, here's Donald Trump taking questions.
Particular country. There is a shutdown. How many federal workers do you plan to lay off?
Well, we may do a lot, and that's only because of the Democrats. And as you know, they wanted to be able to take care of people that have come into our country illegally, and no system can handle that. And so we're totally opposed on that. But we can't take it. We just can't do it. I'd love to do everybody. I'd love to do the whole world. But our country can't handle people that come into our country illegally. And they want to give them full health care benefits. They want to open the wall again. Can you believe it? I can't even believe it. They want to open the wall. They haven't taken away boys playing in women's sports. They haven't done that. Men playing in women's sports. It's like they don't change. They lost an election in a landslide, and they don't change.
Okay. I already told you that was a lie. Monique Presley is here. She is a legal analyst, political commentator, trial attorney, and a dear friend of the Don Lemon Show. Monique, good morning to you. Thank you so much.
Good morning.
How did this become about transgender people and giving health care benefits to undocumented immigrants?
Yeah, it's not about that. They know it's not about that. It's just the same deflection game, the same shiny object over here, shiny object. I mean, it's the thing that they do in order to avoid real conversations, in order to admit when they are not able to get yet another thing done. This government's been failing since the January inauguration, and here we are. When's the last time we had a shutdown, Don? Trump won.
Yeah, Trump won was the last time. No shutdown under Biden?
No, sir.
Wow. Huh. It's almost as if he was a better president than Donald Trump.
Well, it's almost as if he was a better president. It's almost as if when the Democrats were in control in Congress, the then leader Schumer was able to negotiate with Republicans and actually get a deal done. It's almost as if maybe there's not a mandate from the American people for this garbage that they're trying to currently shove down their throats. That's why, you know, you can say landslide, however many times you want, but when you don't have enough votes to get the budget passed on your own, it's obvious that you didn't get a landslide.
Let's see. Schumer is speaking right now, I'm being told by producers. Do we have it? Let's listen.
We did, but it's at the last minute. There's still
Check.
a chance.
1, 2, 1, 2.
It's only the president who can do this. We know he runs the show here. And he's got to say to our Republican colleagues, deal with this ACA issue so that people don't get $400 premium increases. Deal with this impoundment and rescission issue which when we told him about it yesterday, he seemed not familiar with it, but now he knows. And we can solve this problem. But Johnson won't, Thune won't, and so the president is not going to be able to persuade them unless he tries at the last minute. That's the only hope here. Look, sitting in the room with the president, it was very clear that the president hadn't fully grasped the magnitude of the disaster he's causing when the government shuts down. As healthcare costs go up, as people lose their healthcare, rural hospitals are already closing. Speaker Johnson in the room said to me they're not, and I pointed out to him that Tim Kaine just informed us that 3 rural clinics in Virginia, Southwest Virginia, were closing. And the head of those clinics said it's because of the bills the Republicans passed. The so-called BBB, which we know is not beautiful. The American people know it's not beautiful. And so they know, our Republican colleagues know that the American people are fully behind us when it comes to lowering costs, but also when it comes to health care and making sure that those premiums don't go way up. And then I spoke to Speaker Johnson directly in the room. I told him because he can't debate health care, because he knows it's not the American people are on the side of wanting these increases, even Republicans, I told him to stop making up stories that too many Republicans are lying through their teeth. They say, oh, the Democrats want undocumented immigrants to get health care, to get the federal dollars of health care. That is utter bull, and they know it. The law prohibits undocumented immigrants from getting payments from Medicare, Medicaid, or the ACA. There's no money, not a penny, of federal dollars that are going there. So why do they bring this up? Because they're afraid to talk about the real issue, which is health care for American citizens. Health care for people who need the health care and can't afford these premiums. Let me say it again. Undocumented immigrants cannot receive premium tax credits by law. So they should stop these lies and address the real issue, which of course they're afraid to do. A standard Republican MO is to make something else up because the American people are on our side. Now, this week, here's what House Republicans sent out guidance to their members. They said, quote, not to make the message about health care because Republicans lose that argument. They're right. Their position is callous, malicious, unpopular. So they're not only refusing to talk about health care, but apparently when they do, it's only to spread misinformation, to spread lies.
Okay, let's Monique, we'll leave him up. Just leave him up. Monique, the reason I left it up is because he is giving a fact check there in real time. And it's about something that I want to talk to you about. What happens, Monique, if the government does indeed shut down at midnight?
One of the things that's going to happen is 477,366 federal employees will be furloughed. And that means that they will not be coming into work and they will not receive paychecks. Their paychecks will be delayed until such time as there is an agreement. They, if a check has already gone out, like it's already being processed, their next check, it may not stop. But whatever is after that, that would depend on the government functioning. That is going to be not happening. In addition to them.
Stand by, Monique. I'm being told that we need to listen in just a little bit. Stand by. Sorry.
Long before January to decide, are they going to drop their health care because they can't afford it? Are they going to take a lesser plan where they pay more through deductibles and co-payments? Or are they going to keep that plan and cut back on buying a car, going on a vacation, or worse. Republicans have simply put, folks, the Republicans have chosen the losing side of the health care debate. Losing side. And in the White House meeting yesterday, Speaker Johnson made it perfectly clear he didn't care if people's premiums should go up because his conference is against it.
Wow.
And so again, the House isn't even set to come back until October 7th. You tell me which side is actively manufacturing a shutdown. Why did the House do that? Because they wanted to negotiate? I don't think so. They wanted to jam it through, but they're not going to be able to. Yesterday, during a House Republican conference, Representative Lisa McClain made it explicit. She said, don't talk about health care to her Republican colleagues. They don't want to talk about it, so they make these other things up, facts out of thin air. So the Republicans have until midnight tonight to get serious with us about solving this crisis and keep the government open. But right now, they're not even talking to us seriously. They're sort of in la-la land. And then on another issue, related. Yesterday, the president posted an offensive deepfake AI video of Leader Jeffries and me.
Can you put that up so we can see it?
Sombreros, fake music, impersonating my voice through AI, it wasn't me. Talking even more lies about health care and immigration. Listen to this, America. Hours away from a shutdown, which we don't want, the American people don't want, the president is busy trolling away on the internet like a 10-year-old. And that's exactly why Americans are going to blame him if the government shuts down. That's another proof point as to who is to blame. His video, Johnson going away, and adjourning the House till next week. We have less than a day to figure this out, and Donald Trump is busy tweeting deep fakes. It's not like he's in touch with reality, he's in a bubble. He doesn't understand that if the government shuts down, people's health care premiums will go up. When we told him about it, Hakeem and I yesterday, by his body language, he seemed not even to be aware of it, of the ramifications. If the president was smart, he'd move heaven and earth to fix this health care crisis right away. Because Americans are going to hold him responsible when they start paying $400, $500, $4,600 more a month on health care. So we have less than a day. If there was ever a moment for Donald Trump and Republicans to get serious about health care, it's now. But even right now, even this morning, even here on the precipice of this crisis, the president would rather troll on the internet and lie about health care than tell the truth and get to work. So that's why the polls are abundantly clear that Americans will hold Donald Trump and Republicans responsible if the government shuts down. Senate Republicans could stop this crisis now. The president should get on the phone with Leader Thune and the Johnsons and tell them to work with Democrats to fix the crisis before it's too late, and work with Democrats to fix our health care crisis. Let me just say once again, we tried over and over and over again to meet with the Republican leadership. They said no. The appropriators said they couldn't resolve the issues until the leaders met. So we asked the leaders to meet again, and they said no, because they didn't want to negotiate. They wanted it their way or no way. Their way or no way. That's not how the Senate works. If Republicans cause a shutdown, they'll probably keep lying and distracting because they know we're on the side of the American Democrats are on the side of the American people. But we will continue to focus on health care, and the American people will be completely on our side. Yield the floor.
That is a Democratic leader in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, speaking from the Senate floor. Monique, what say you?
Yeah, so in addition to the 440, almost 45,000 people who will be furloughed in a shutdown, there are people who have what's considered accepted service, like the U.S. military, who will have to continue working, but also will not be paid. And then there are people, and the president was just asked about it this morning, whether people would end up laid off because advice and memorandums were floating around the departments when they had to come up with their shutdown plans last week and week before last. This federal government, the executive branch, is advising them to consider more reductions in force, more RIFs. So they are going to fire as many people as they possibly can and justify it by the shutdown. And so one of the reasons why we're not seeing anybody like Russell Vought or OMB care about the fact that this government is about to be shut down is because their entire plan is to shut the government down. The reduction in the size of the government is what they desire. And so the fight really is a fight within a fight on the Republican side, because they're going to have to answer to their constituents when more jobs are lost, when the economy keeps tanking, and now when ACA benefits skyrocket. And that information is about to come out. People have to make decisions starting October 1st. That's when the notices go out. But we need to be really clear about the stakes, Don, because when Leader Schumer says that Trump is unaffected and untouched by the real concerns of America, I got to tell you, there's some people out here talking for a living who seem unaffected and unconcerned by the real consequences of what happens, whether we shut down the government or whether we don't. And so while I am in favor and think the Democrats have no choice but to hold the line, it's a sober matter. It's not a light thing that they have to do this. And that is why in March, they didn't want to do it, because they knew this damn government isn't gonna care. People are gonna get furloughed, and the furlough is gonna lead to a RIF, and the RIF is gonna lead to them being unhoused, lead to them and not being able to feed their families. And nobody in this government who's leading it right now is gonna care. Johnson doesn't care. These people who were in there, these governors don't, they refused. The Republicans in the poorest states in our country refused Medicaid expansion for their own constituencies. So they don't give a damn. They do not, they don't care about that happening. And if the prices skyrocket, they wanted, it's been an 11, 12-year plan to try to get rid of what they call Obamacare, which people had to figure out the last time, oh, the ACA is how I'm actually getting my insurance. They've been trying to get rid of it. So the things that would be of most concern to everyday Americans, this GOP, it does not care about. Their interests are counter to the interests of everyday Americans.
Monique, we're going to hear, you heard from the leader of the Senate there, Chuck Schumer. We're going to hear from Democratic leader coming up in just moments, Hakeem Jeffries, speaking out as well. I want to get a word in from our sponsors, 2 minutes. Support for the Don Lemon Show comes from Ollie. You know how much I love my dogs. Boomer thinks that he runs the house. Barkley acts like he's too good for kibble. And Gus, well, he would eat my shoe off if I'm not looking, although he is pretty picky too. So I had to upgrade their food, and that's where Ollie comes in. Quite frankly, Ollie was there from the very beginning. We wanted to make sure we tried some things, but Ollie always won out. It's fresh, human-grade food, the kind of stuff that I'd actually eat if they'd let me. Since I switched, their coats are shinier, their energy is up, and Barkley and Gus, the picky ones, now clean the bowls. All of them are picky. Their favorites, beef recipe, mine too, if I'm being honest, because I like to see how much they love it. Ollie tailors a meal plan just for your dog with a quick quiz, and then they even have an app with health screenings. And if your pup isn't into it, Ollie has a happiness guarantee. So go to ollie.com/lemon and use the code lemon to get 60% off of your first box. That's OLLIE.com/lemon. So this show today is also sponsored by Shopify. This show started as a dream, and then Shopify came in and turned that dream into a business. And if Shopify can help me, trust me, they can help anybody. Shopify is the platform behind millions of businesses, from big names to your neighbor selling candles on Instagram. We use it here for the Don Lemon Show merch. It's easy. You get a slick website, built-in AI to help you with descriptions and emails. And if you're stuck, there's 24/7 customer support. And nothing beats the sound of that first sale. Cha-ching! That's Shopify telling you that your dream just made money. Here's the sound. You got to love that sound. So if you've been sitting on an idea, stop overthinking it, okay? Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/lemon. That's shopify.com/lemon, and turn those dreams into with Shopify. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors. Thank you to our sponsors. And just moments ago, do we still have the live shot from the Senate floor? The folks are still on the Senate floor. They're debating healthcare. Chuck Schumer spoke moments ago. And they're still speaking. Let's see. Let me just listen just for a little bit to see what they're talking about.
He said that one of his members went to some rural communities in his home state and said that the healthcare providers there are really concerned. Well, then those healthcare providers haven't been informed by the Democrat senators from that state about what is in the bill that passed this summer and the incredible resources that are being made to make sure that rural hospitals can be sustained.
Yeah, this is a senator from
stay
Wyoming.
Afloat, can stay open, can
and
provide
he
health
is.
care.
This is the Republican rebuttal
The
to that.
Democrats are so against rural communities of this country. View them as the enemy. The red counties, they're so fixated with the.
Doesn't tax credits and healthcare help rural communities? I don't get it. Why? What is he talking about?
You know what else helps rural communities more so than urban communities? Medicaid, Medicare, the hospitals that are going to end up closing because of the money, the almost $1 billion that they took out of the program. It's going to be there, and they know that. They know it. It's just it's pushed down the road, so they don't have to talk about it right now because it's not happening right now. So when the consequences are down the road, they don't have to face them, and they don't have to face their voters about it.
Yeah. Well, John Barrasso, whatever. Okay, so here's Hakeem Jeffries speaking out this morning about what he says that Donald Trump is lying about what the Democrats want.
Is it true that you want to restore American taxpayer benefits to illegal immigrants?
Of course not. And thank you for asking that question, because this is also an outright lie. Federal law prohibits the use of taxpayer dollars to provide medical coverage to undocumented individuals. That's the law. And there is nothing in anything that we have proposed that is trying to change that law. We are fighting for the health care of the American people, fighting to deal with the Republican health care crisis, which included the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. It includes the fact that Republicans have refused to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits time and time again, putting in jeopardy the health care of tens of millions of Americans. It's the fact that Medicare is going to face a $536 billion cut at the end of this year if Congress doesn't act because of what Republicans did in the One Big Ugly Bill. Our fight relates to the fact that hospitals and nursing homes and community-based health clinics are closing. No one in America, the wealthiest country in the history of the world, this great country of ours, should die because they can't find a bed or a room at a hospital because their hospital has closed as a result of what has happened with this Republican healthcare crisis. And on top of all of that, we see that Republicans have actually launched an assault on medical research in the United States of America in the Republican appropriations bill that is part of this process.
Minority Leader, let me just ask.
So there, we know that it's a lie. Monique, we're getting to the end of our time here. What say you? Give me some final thoughts here.
Ooh, final thoughts.
Is the government going to shut down?
I believe that the government's going to shut down because
And Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are not going to cave.
No, they're not going to get their caucus. Like the Senate doesn't have the votes. Leader Schumer is not going to get. There's going to be a vote later today, and there will not be enough votes for what is in the Senate now for it to pass. And then nobody, I mean, the House isn't even here to do anything. So there's going to be a shutdown. I don't know how long it's going to last. The only miracle that can happen is from the president, and the president is in Delulu land, posting AI photos and talking, to the army and trying to fire people. So That's going to happen. And what I want people to remember, everybody who's saying shut it down, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down, when the pain comes to somebody you know, remember that you said shut it down, shut it down, shut it down, and that it was necessary. When people are hurting, when people are going through it, when we see the effects, and I've lived through multiple shutdowns before because I'm a former government worker. I've had to deal with RIFs, I've had to deal with furloughs. These people are already in a lot of pain. The federal government workers have already been under assault under this administration. So please support the move you called for if we indeed end up having to go through the consequences of what is necessary in order to fight for health care. I don't have a stomach for you wanting the Democrats to do something, and then when they do it and it actually does hurt, then you want them to do something else, because what we really all want is for it to stop. And there really is kind of a denial about the power that people have and they don't have. And it doesn't matter whether I say it loud or whether I say it with a whisper, or whether I'm 80 years old or whether I'm 28 years old. The facts are the facts are the facts. So some of us as supporters of this democracy need to get real serious about what our leaders can and cannot do, because we are on a cliff that is going to hurt people, and that's serious business. That's not a game.
Not a game. Monique Presley. Monique, thank you very much. I'm sorry we got interrupted with live, but it was Chuck Schumer speaking truth to power. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Monique Presley, everyone. Bye-bye. So look, I know that you guys are always, you talk about, hey, Chuck Schumer, you know, you want new leadership, Hakeem Jeffries, whatever. It appears that they're holding the line right now. And do you guys want it to shut down? You heard what Monique said. You heard what Monique said about what happens if the government shuts down. I don't know. Can you guys put up, what is this? He says of HUD's website homepage. What is that, right? Can we put that up and see what that is? HUD's website homepage. This is on the homepage. Oh, yeah. The radical left are going to shut down the government and inflict massive pain on the American people unless they get their $1.5 trillion wish list of demands. The Trump administration wants to keep the government open for the American people. Okay. So it appears to me that Republicans have their backs up against the wall right now. And that's why Donald Trump has really devolved the conversation and others into making this about transgender people and for undocumented immigrants to get health care. Interesting. And you heard them mention, you saw John Barrasso talking about, well, Democrats haven't spoken and the Democrats haven't done this. This is what Jason Crow says Republicans are not doing. Here he is.
All the things that should be happening, negotiations, discussions, meeting with President Trump, actually us being in town to vote, the Republicans have canceled all of those things. And it's such a unbelievable, I'm almost speechless. I've never been in a situation where on the verge of a government shutdown, the party in power, the Republicans, have literally canceled votes and not brought Congress back into session for us to negotiate, to have discussions, and to be ready if there is a deal struck to vote. They've canceled it.
They've canceled the votes. Remember, Donald Trump canceled the meeting with Democratic leaders. Let's not forget that. And so, look, this is a blame, everybody's pointing the fingers here, but it appears to me there's one party, one group of people whose backs are up against the wall and will own this, and that's Republicans, because they control every lever of the government. Every single lever of the government. And in all of this, you saw the AI generated thing of Chuck. Let me just play that, just some of it, so you can see what Chuck Schumer was talking about in case you haven't seen it. This is the AI generated video that people are calling racist of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, at least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
So that came from the president of the United States. Not only is it racist, you hear the music there and you see the sombrero, and also what he's talking about is what Republicans call the great replacement theory that has been debunked by every single fact check. And if you look at how we vote in this country, how the laws are written up, then you understand that none of what they're saying about that is true as well. Now, I want you guys know who Donald Trump is. Have you met Donald Trump? Perhaps the Republicans haven't met Donald Trump. I don't mean like personally, but I mean, if you guys know Donald Trump, right? You've seen him, you've heard him. You remember when he was, the Celebrity Apprentice. You remember when he thought that he could get on television and say anything he wanted about the government and that how he would be better than everybody else. And it turns out he's like the worst president that we've had. That he speaks out of both sides of his mouth, that he lies as often, more than people change underwear. He lies. Now, if you don't believe me, I would like today's 2025 version of Donald Trump to meet the previous version of Donald Trump. So this is a 2025 model. I want you to meet the model from the aughts and a little bit later, the other Donald Trumps. The ones, this is how you know who someone is, because you see their past. But even then, MAGA won't believe. But here's, new version of Donald Trump, meet the old version. Here it is.
First question, Donald, we're having a hell of a time trying to negotiate here in Washington. So tell me, if you were president, what would you do?
Well, very simply, you have to get everybody in a room. You have to be a leader. The president has to lead. I hear the Democrats are going to be blamed and the Republicans are going to be blamed. I actually think the president would be blamed. If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the president of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together.
They're not going to be talking who the head of the House was, the head of the Senate, who's running things in Washington. So I really think the pressure is on the president.
Oh. So it's the president's fault. So Donald Trump says when these things happen, it's the president's fault. Now, I wonder if the 2025 version would agree with that. And since we're talking about who Donald Trump is, real quick, I want you guys to hear this. This is Donald Trump speaking to the folks in Quantico, all the generals, and he's slurring. I mean, Tim Miller at the Bulwark is even wondering. Tim Miller put up a thing saying, is Donald Trump on Ambien? And I think a lot of folks are wondering that after this speech, they're talking about Joe Biden. But what about Donald Trump? Is he okay? I just want you to hear, this is how he started the speech. And then I'm going to wait till you hear the rest. Here he is.
I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very, don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future.
Okay. Not funny. And this is what he's talking about. The Department of Defense, he says, he's talking about wokeness.
So didn't it used to be called the Department of War? And he goes, yes, sir. They changed it like in the early 50s. So we won the First World War. We won the Second World War. We won everything in between and everything before that. We only won. And then we went, in a way, woke. That was probably the first sign of wokeness. And we changed it to defense instead of war. And I said, what do you think? How do you think if we changed it back? Would that be a nice idea? And Pete loved it immediately. Some people thought about it. They gave it a little thought. But in the end, we did it. And I have to be honest, it's so popular. I thought it would be met with fury on the left.
No, popular because no one gives a shit.
They've had it. They've had it with Trump.
Because no one gives a shit. And what is he talking about? Is Donald Trump okay, everyone? Now, you guys, this is what he says about Democrats.
They've been after me for so many years now. Here we are. Here we are. Come to the White House anytime you'd like. No, they've given up. They're bad, a lot of bad people. But all over, that's been so popular. It's been very popular. I really thought that we were going to have to sort of fight it through. There's been no fight.
But just remember.
Like when I called the Gulf of America, the Gulf of America, because to me it was always the Gulf of America. I could never understand. We have 92% of the frontage. And for years, actually 350 years, they were there before us. It was called the Gulf of Mexico. I just had this.
Oh my gosh. I don't think he realized that, you know, if you ask Mexico, I don't think he understands like how America came to be. And that there were actually Mexicans here. Like they didn't, I don't think he realizes that. I don't think he gets the origin of why it had no name until the 1540s, I believe. And then it became the, I don't know, what is it? I think this is a Cinso, something's a Mexicano, the Gulf of Mexico. I don't think he understands where these names come from. Everything to him is like right in recent history. He has no grasp of history. It's like, oh, does he want to change New Mexico now to New America? Is there, I mean, would he change some other names that he doesn't understand because it's not America, just because it says Mexico? So fucking dumb. This one is, there's a bunch of shit, but this one is, to me, the most incomprehensible one. Now listen to how he sounds. This is him talking about in words. Okay, here it is.
And it was really a stupid person that works for him mentioned the word nuclear. I moved a submarine or two, I won't say about the two, over to the coast of Russia, just to be careful, because we can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N word. There are two N words, and you can't use either of them. You can't use either of them. And frankly, if it does get to use, we have more than anybody else. We have better, we have newer, but
and ladies and gentlemen, that is the person who is the leader of the country. Donald Trump. That is the person who is in charge of the country right now. Let's see. America under invasion. I think you need to hear this because this is the most chilling part of his speech. Watch.
while America is under invasion from within, we're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms. But we are under invasion from within. We're stopping it very quickly.
Okay, what does he mean by invasion from? You know who else doesn't wear uniform? The ICE folks. Is that who he's talking about? The ones with the masks? In street clothing, many of them? Or in camouflage? Invasion from within. If that doesn't harken back to, do I even want to go there? An invasion from within? What does that harken back to? Man, we are in trouble. Let me just say we're in trouble because that is the kind of rhetoric that fires people up, that turns Americans against each other, that we are under invasion from inside of our own country, that our own citizens, our own neighbors are enemies. Not that, you know, we have more in common than we have apart. What happened to that? Invasion from within. This type of dangerous rhetoric is what causes some people to do the things that we are seeing in the news. This type of rhetoric puts lives in jeopardy. I started talking to you about the person who frantically got in touch with me because of the death threats they were getting. I don't think that language like that helps, especially from the person who's supposed to bring us together. Remember, he just said, the old version of Donald Trump, that if the government shuts down, it sounds to me like he's saying the buck stops with the president, with the government, and with everything. So the buck should stop with Donald Trump. Is Donald Trump okay? No. So is America okay? I don't think so. But as I said in my opening statement, and I will say it again, if you don't do something now, if we don't do something now, then they're going to keep trying it again and again and again. If you want to know anything about the Don Lemon Show, here's what you do. You go to donlemon.com. Everything is there. Also, I got to show you some new things in a second, but go to where you can watch us right there, the little arrow, YouTube. You can join or you can subscribe. Subscriptions are free. It's free to subscribe, and then you can join, whatever. And if you back out of there, everything that you need to know about the show, about the program, our merch store is there. Everything is there. Also, everyone, I want everyone to get their phones up. Get your phones up. Get your phones up. Open your camera. Open your cameras. Open your cameras. Everybody. Okay, you guys ready? Okay, so let's put up, this is the Don Lemon Show page on YouTube. All you have to do is put your camera on that. When you see the little yellow thing pop up, it says YouTube. That's going to take you right to the YouTube page. And there is a subscribe button there and a join button right there. Okay? So please support the show. Thank you for supporting independent media. Also, there's one for the Don Lemon Show as well. But you can, yeah, that's the one for the Don Lemon Show. But put the one back up for it because I want him to go to the show page. Okay? So look, I've got a lot to do. We've got a lot of work to do today. We're going to be watching the government. We're chasing down some lawmakers to try to speak to them. And I have a very busy day. And by the way, Gus is fast asleep right next to me. He's not snoring yet, but I'm sure he will be later. So he's fine now. But that really scared me because he was howling. I guess maybe he was about to fall off the bed and Daddy didn't get there fast enough to grab him. So anyways, all right. So I want to thank you all for supporting us. Make sure you become a member, like and subscribe. And I want you to do this. I want you to take care of your mental health today. All right. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to be informed without being inundated until I see you back here. Oh, we have a merch. Sorry, one more thing. We have a merch photo, right? Who's this lovely lady?
Yes, this is Ethel.
Ethel, thank you for supporting the Don Lemon Show. Ethel has her Old People Be Knowing cup. Thank you. She's beautiful. I love the gray hair, the salt and pepper. Thank you. You can get the cup that Ethel has. You can get that on the Don Lemon Show on our merch page. You can get this Lemon Live shirt with Don Lemon on our merch page as well. All you have to do is go to, you can click on the QR code there, or you can go to donlemon.com and click on merch. And then that'll take you right to our merch page. She's the only one, right?
Yes.
Yes. And so that's right there. You can go and get all of this stuff. Okay. So thank you so much. Be informed without being inundated until I see you back here at 5 p.m. Eastern time on the Don Lemon Show on the Don Lemon channel. Turn the TV off. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again,
Thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.